Cordelia. I think Cordelia is a much better name for me. Don't you think? I am truly honored and excited to be going to Green Gables with you, Mr. Cuthbert. I feel as if I'm the most fortunate girl in the whole universe. Or at least the whole Dominion of Canada. Hello, my name is Anne Shirley. Please call me Cordelia. I think Cordelia is a much better.
There she is at the end of the platform.
But it's a boy I've come for. Mrs. Spencer was to bring a boy over from Nova Scotia, here to Bright River, not to take him home with me to Avonlea.
Well, Mrs. Spencer got off the train with that girl and left her in my charge until you got here.
There must be some mistake.
Maybe she can explain it. She sure is a talker, that one. Now, if you'll excuse me, Matthew, that was the last train today, and I'm headed home for supper.
Oh, I do hope you are Mr. Matthew Cuthbert.
Well, now I reckon that's me.
Hello, my name is Anne Shirley, but please call me Cordelia. I think
Yes. I heard you saying all that a little earlier. You were talking kind of loud.
Oh, yes. We tend to do that where I come from. I was beginning to be afraid you weren't coming for me. If you hadn't, I was going to climb that big cherry tree down the tracks and spend the night in it.
But you're not a boy.
But I can climb all the same, and I wouldn't be the least bit afraid. In the moonlight, I'd pretend the blossoms were columns in a castle.
Well, now I can't leave you here. I'll take you home and see what Marilla says. The horse and buggy are just over there, and I can take your bag.
Oh no, I can manage it. Has all my worldly goods in it, but it isn't the least bit heavy. Now, isn't that beautiful?
What?
That tree over there, what does it make you think of?
Well, now, I don't know.
Why, a bride, of course, with a misty veil. I would never expect to be a bride myself. I'm so homely no one will ever want to marry me. Except maybe a foreign missionary. But not only am I homely, I'm also thin. I like to imagine I'm nice and plump, dimples in my elbows. Mr. Cuthbert, am I talking too much? People are always telling me I do. Would you rather I didn't talk?
Well, now, I don't mind talking to folks so much since I'm kind of quiet myself. Talk as much as you like.
Oh, thank you, Mr. Cuthbert. I can already tell we're going to be kindred spirits. Mrs. Spencer told me that there's a brook nearby, and that makes me almost perfectly happy. But I could never be perfectly happy because of this.
Your hair?
What color would you call it?
Well, it's red, ain't it?
Yes, red. I can imagine away my skinniness and green eyes and freckles, but not my red hair. Have you ever wondered what it would be like to be divinely beautiful, Mr. Cuthbert?
Well, now, I can't say I have.
Will your sister like me, even though I'm not divinely beautiful?
I don't think that'll bother her, but something else might. Might bother her a whole lot. Let's get home.
Oh, what a wonderful sound. Almost angelic. I don't know if I'll ever get used to it.
Let's just hope you get the chance. Let's go.
Oh yes, let's not delay. Mrs. Spencer told me all about Green Gables, and it sounds like a dream. I pinched myself black and blue from the elbows up, just hoping it wasn't. Yes, Mr. Cuthbert. All mine. Evening, Rachel.
Marilla, are you all right? I had one of my headaches yesterday, but I'm okay now. Why do you ask? Well, I was at my window shelling peas this afternoon when I saw Matthew go by with a bucket and a soil maker. Yes, and he hasn't come back yet. You've been sitting at your window for 3 hours? We had a big pea harvest this year. Anyway, Morrison over at Blair's store in Carmody yesterday said he meant to sow turnips today. He finished. certainly will cry. Well, I suppose you may as well know. Matthew went to Bright River. We're getting a little boy from the orphan asylum in Nova Scotia. He was to come in on the 5:30 train. They should be back pretty soon. Sit and have some tea, Rachel.
I'll sit, but no tea, thank you. I'm much too flabbergasted. Are you in earnest, Marilla?
Well, we've been thinking about it for some time now. Matthew's getting up in his years, and his heart troubles him a good deal. So we sent for an orphan boy, old enough to do chores right now, but young enough to be trained up proper.
Well, Marilla, I'll tell you plain that I think you're doing a mighty foolish thing, bringing a strange child into your home, not knowing a single thing about him. Why, just last week I read about a man and his wife who took a boy from the orphanage, and he set fire to the house on purpose. And I read another case where an orphan boy sucked all the eggs he gathered. But the worst one, they say that over in New Brunswick, an orphan poured poison down the well, and the whole family died in fearful agony. Only, it was a girl in that instance.
Well, we're not getting a girl. Matthew's afraid of them, and I never dream of bringing one up.
Well, I can't wait to see how this all turns out. Look, there's Matthew and the boy pulling up now. Hard to see in this light, but it looks like the first thing you're going to have to do is give him a haircut. I'll just slip out the side door so you and Matthew can be alone with the new boy. And I won't breathe a word about this. I'll let you two break the news. Oh, and Marilla, if I were you, I'd keep the lid fastened real tight over the well.
Oh, Mr. Cuthbert, the vines were so pretty. No, that's not the word. Nor beautiful either. It was wonderful, simply wonderful. Oh, hello.
Matthew Cuthbert, who is that? Where's the boy?
There wasn't any boy. There was only her.
We asked for a boy. Why did you bring her?
Well, now, we couldn't leave her at the station all night, no matter how the mistake came about.
Well, this is a pretty piece of business.
You don't want me? You don't want me because I'm not a boy? I should have expected it. Nobody's ever wanted me before. I should have known it was too beautiful to be true.
Well, there's no need to cry about it.
Yes, there is. You would cry too if you had come to a place that you thought was home, but it wasn't because you weren't a boy.
Well, you don't need to cry about it. We're not going to turn you out of doors tonight. What's your name?
My name is Anne Shirley, but please call me Cordelia.
What's wrong with calling you by your real name?
It's so unromantic.
What's wrong? Fiddlesticks. It's a good, plain, sensible name.
Very well. You must call me Anne. Please call me Anne spelled with an E on the end.
All right, Anne spelled with an E. Can you tell me how this mistake came to be? Were there no boys at the orphan asylum?
Oh yes, there was an abundance of boys. But Mrs. Spencer thought you wanted a girl. Oh, Mr. Cuthbert, why didn't you tell me at the train station you didn't want me and just leave me there?
Well, now...
If I hadn't seen the white way of delight or the lake of shining waters, it wouldn't be so hard to leave.
What on earth does she mean?
They're new names she gave to the apple tree grove and very smart.
Sounds like your imagination works overtime. Come on, let's go upstairs and I'll show you where you can sleep tonight. Then we'll have some supper.
I won't take any, thank you. I can't eat, and I'm in depths of despair. And you?
I've never been in the depths of despair, so I can't say.
Well, you could imagine what it would be like.
I've got my hands full handling the real things in life. I've got no time for imagination. Come on. back downstairs. If you still don't want me supper, at least you can say goodnight. We'll send her back to the orphan asylum tomorrow.
Well, now.
Matthew Cuthbert, you never light up that pipe unless something's weighing on your mind. What is it?
I was just thinking, it'd be a shame to send her back since she's got her heart so set on staying here.
You mean to say you think we ought to keep her? What good would she be to us?
We might be some good to her.
I believe that child has bewitched you.
She's a real nice little thing. Interesting, too. She nearly talked my arm off on the way over here.
Oh, she's talkative, all right, but that's nothing in her favor. Anyway, you need someone to help you with the chores.
I could hire a local boy part-time, and the girl could be company for you.
I'm not suffering for company, and I don't aim to keep her. And I wish we'd go outside with that pipe.
I'll go put the mare in the barn.
Oh, Miss Cuthbert, I love the view from the window upstairs. In the moonlight, the trees and flowers are fairly shimmering. They seem to be calling me, Anne, come out to us. But I don't dare go out, of course, because there's no use in loving things if you're going to be torn from them, is there?
Can you do chores?
Oh, yes, I can sweep and clean and
I
wash.
mean outside chores. Oh, never mind. That Matthew, what's he got me thinking? He's a ridiculous man.
I think he's lovely. He didn't mind how much I talked. In fact, I think he liked it. The moment I saw him, I knew we were going to be kindred spirits.
You're both kind of strange, if that's what you mean by kindred spirits. Evening, Mrs. Blewett.
Miss Cuthbert, I just ran into Mrs. Lynde at the foot of the hill, and she told me that you and your mother adopted a little orphan boy. Now, Mr. Blewett and I were thinking of getting us a young girl from that orphanage. Do you think they would have one with a strong back and clear eyes?
Well, this might be a coincidence, Mrs. Blewett. Perhaps a providential coincidence. We may be able to work something out right here. You see, we ordered a boy, but they sent us this girl.
Not very stout looking, but whatever. That is, I know. Well, I expect you to be mighty good, smart, and respectful. I'll expect you to earn your keep, make no mistake about that. I've got a large family and they quarrel a lot, and the baby's awful fractious. You can take care of the whole lot for me. Yes, I will take her off your hands for you. In fact, if you like, I can take her home right now.
Well, that might be a good thing for me and Matthew to think about. You see, we haven't absolutely decided we wouldn't keep her. We'll let you know tomorrow.
Well, that'll do. I know.
Oh, Miss Cuthbert, did you really say that perhaps you'll let me stay?
Just perhaps, and no more. Although Mrs. Blewett certainly needs you more than I do.
I'd rather go back to the orphanage than live with her. Oh, Miss Cuthbert, please let me stay. I'll do anything you ask of me.
Well, you might start by going upstairs and getting ready for bed. And don't forget to say your prayers.
I don't know how.
You don't know how to say prayers? You love God, don't you?
Well, he gave me red hair. So I never cared for him very much.
Young lady, I can see you're going to need some strong religious training. And we'll start right here with your prayers. Kneel down here with me. Now repeat after me. Now I lay me down to sleep.
Now I lay me down to sleep. Miss Cuthbert, why must we kneel when we pray? Wouldn't we be closer to heaven standing up? I'm sorry, but
pray the Lord my... Oh, never mind. You're old enough to pray for yourself. Just thank the Lord for his blessings and ask him humbly for the things you want.
Okay. Dear Father, I thank thee for the white way of delight and the lake of shining waters. And that's all the blessings I can think of for now. As for the things I want, they're so numerous, so I'll only say the two most important. Please let me stay here at Green Gables, and please let me be good looking when I grow up. Yours respectfully, Anne Shirley. Good night.
I've never brought up a child before, especially a girl, and I'll probably make a terrible mess of it. But it's about time someone adopted that child and taught her something. As far as I'm concerned, Matthew, she can stay.
Well, now.
I'll try to teach her proper and teach her right from wrong. But don't you go interfering with my methods. I suppose an old maid knows more about bringing up a child than an old bachelor. I thought you put the mare away.
I guess I had my mind on that little girl so much that I plumb forgot.
Looks like I've got 2 children to look after instead of 1. Come on, you unhitch the buggy and I'll put up the mare.
Good morning, Mrs. Lynn.
Reverend Bentley, I've been meaning to tell you, your sermon sounded rather familiar Sunday.
Well, truth to tell, it's the same sermon I delivered the week before. My memory's not like it used to be.
Nor your sermons either. Good day, Reverend. Why, Mr. Phillips and Priscilla Andrews, Mrs. Lind.
I didn't expect to see anyone of the school children out this early in the morning.
That seems quite obvious. I'm on my way to the Cuthberts to look over the new boy they've adopted. He'll be going to your school, no doubt, Mr. Phillips.
And he'll certainly be welcome, of course.
It's nice to see a teacher taking such close interest in his students.
Yes, I was just helping Chrissy. Miss Andrews, with her geometry.
How conscientious.
Now, Miss Andrews, let us once again review the difference between an axiom and a postulate.
Children! If I had to do it all over again, I'd have only 10 instead of 12.
We'll need more chicken feet by next week, Matthew. Better get 2 sacks this time.
Miss Cuthbert?
Morning, child.
Oh, Miss Cuthbert, won't you please tell me if you're going to send me away or not? I spent the first half of the night awake and worrying, and the second half of the night dreaming about wonderful Green Gables.
Well, I suppose I might as well tell you. Matthew and I have decided to keep you. That is, if you'll try to be a good girl and show yourself grateful. Why, child, whatever's the matter?
I'm crying, and I don't know why. I'm as glad as I can be, and I've never been happier. Can you tell me why I'm crying?
Maybe it's because you are all excited and worked up. I'm afraid you laugh and cry far too easily. Yes, you can stay here with us, and we'll try to do right by you. You'll have to go to school, you know. But school gets out on summer vacation in 2 weeks, so you can start in September.
Oh, thank you, Miss Cuthbert. I'll do anything you ask of me. I'll be very good, I promise. Now, what would you like me to call you? Miss Cuthbert or Aunt Marilla, maybe?
Well, I'm not your aunt, and Miss Cuthbert sounds kind of formal, so you can call me just plain Marilla.
That sounds awful disrespectful. Just plain Marilla.
Not if you speak it respectfully. And you can call Matthew just plain Matthew.
Thank you, Miss. Thank you, Marilla. Now that I have a home, do you think I'll have a bosom friend in Avonlea?
What kind of friend?
A bosom friend, an intimate friend, a real kindred spirit to whom I can confide my innermost secrets.
Diana Barry's the nearest little girl.
Oh, she must be the one by the lake of shining water. Her hair isn't red, is it? I could never endure red hair in a bosom friend. Bad enough I have red hair myself.
Diana Barry's a pretty little girl with black hair. She's also good and smart, which is better than being pretty. Although her mother's a peculiar woman who won't let her play with just anybody. So you try and make a good impression. Now, while I fix breakfast, you can begin to learn this.
What is it?
It's the Lord's Prayer. It's a good place to start your religious training. Learn it by heart.
Oh, Mr. Matthew, thank you so much for keeping me. At first I was so happy I was crying, and now I'm so happy I'm laughing. Have you ever been so happy that you've laughed and cried at the same time?
Well, now, I don't recollect that.
Marilla gave me this prayer to learn. It's so beautiful, just like music. Listen to this. Our Father, who art in heaven. Isn't that lovely? Just like a line of poetry. I'm so glad I'm learning it.
Well, learn it and learn it by heart. Maybe you better go upstairs so you won't be distracted by your kindred spirit.
Yes, Marilla.
Morning, Marilla. Matthew. Where's the little boy?
It's a little girl. The orphan asylum made a mistake.
So you're going to send her back, of course.
No, we've decided to keep her. Matthew took a fancy to her, and I'll have to admit, I sort of like her myself.
But you know nothing about her, or her disposition. And you with no experience raising children. There's no guessing how a child like that might turn out. But I don't want to discourage you, Marilla.
You won't. When I make up my mind, it stays made up. I suppose you'd like to see her. And come down here for a minute.
It's a great responsibility you've taken on yourself. You too, Matt.
Well, now, we'll see.
And this is Mrs. Rachel Lynn, one of our closest friends. She lives on the next farm.
Well, I didn't pick you for your looks, that's for certain. She's terribly skinny and homely, Marilla. Come here, child. Waffle heart. Did anybody ever see such freckles? And hair as red as carrots. Come here, I say.
I hate you! I hate you! I hate you! I hate you! How dare you call me skinny and ugly and freckled and redheaded? You are a rude, impolite woman!
Well,
Anne! How dare you? How would you like to be told that you're fat and clumsy and haven't a spark of imagination? You've hurt my feelings, and I will never forgive you!
did anybody ever see such a temper?
And come back here this instant!
Well, Marilla, I certainly don't envy you bringing up that child.
She was naughty, I'll admit, but you shouldn't have twitted her about her looks, Rachel.
Oh, now I have to be considerate about the fragile feelings of orphans, do I?
She's never been taught right from wrong, but she'll learn. And come down here this instant!
Well, it appears she has no intentions of apologizing. You needn't expect a visit from me anytime soon, Marilla. Good day.
Rachel! And
here by myself. Won't you come talk to me for a minute? I think you better apologize to Mrs. Lynde when they get back, and make it quick.
Apologize to Mrs. Lynde?
Just smooth it over, so to speak.
Well, I suppose I could. For you, Matthew. I'm rather ashamed of how I treated her. But it's just so humiliating apologizing to the person who started it. But I'll gladly do it. For you.
Just smooth it over. Now, here they're coming back. Don't tell Marilla I said anything. She'll think I was putting my oar in.
I'll see if I can get her to come down and apologize.
Oh, Mrs. Lynde, I am so terribly sorry. And I could never express my sorrow, even if I knew the entire dictionary. I behaved very badly toward you, and disgraced my dear friends, Matthew and Marilla, who have let me stay at Green Gables, even though I am not a boy. Now, if you don't forgive me, it will inflict a lifetime of sorrow on a poor orphan girl. Please forgive me, Mrs. Lynde.
There, get up, child. Of course I forgive you. Maybe I was a little too hard on you anyway. Don't mind me, I tend to be a trifle outspoken. But I once knew a girl with hair as red as yours. When she grew up, it turned to a real handsome auburn.
Oh, Mrs. Lynde, you have given me new hope. I'm sure I would be a much better person if only my hair would turn to auburn.
Maybe she will turn out all right after all, Marilla. Especially now that she's come to live with civilized folks. In time, we might even come to get along with each other, young lady. If you take a notion, you can come visit me one of these days. Good day.
I apologized pretty well, didn't I?
Maybe a bit too well.
But I meant it. I really did. Especially when I said I would never do anything to hurt or embarrass you, Matthew.
I believe that, but I can see you're going to need a lot of moral guidance. We'll get you started in church and Sunday school right away. Now, let's go up to your room and see what you got to wear. If necessary, after breakfast, we'll go into town and get you a new Sunday dress.
How lovely! And on the way, I'll study the Lord's Prayer and breathe in the glorious atmosphere of my surroundings. I may not say a word the entire trip.
Thanks be to goodness for that.
Did you see the new orphan girl the Cuthberts adopted? They passed her on the way to church.
Mrs. Lynde says she has a terrible temper.
I hear she talks a lot.
Jerry Goop, the Cuthbert's new hired hand, said he overheard her talking flowers and trees like a crazy girl.
When we passed her, she was picking flowers and putting them in her hat. Well, I think she ought to be putting something on her sleeves, like puffs. You should see the dress she's wearing. It's so unfashionable.
We're just looking at the outside, she could be very nice inside.
Any trees on order? We have only a few minutes today because the guest minister will be speaking at church. Now, if you'll open your folder to this Sunday's question.
Yes, Miss Rogerson.
Hello, you're late. I'm dreadfully sorry. I was waiting for Marilla, but she had a headache, so I had to find a way to church by myself.
Dowling all the while I see by bringing flowers.
Oh yes, roses and buttercups. I they lovely? Although pink and yellow aren't common to me. I know.
In the future, I suggest you pin bouquets of flowers on your dress, where they belong, like the other girls.
What's the difference where they're worn, as long as they're worn? I'm sorry. I'll just attend.
Now, as I was saying before we were interrupted, open your quarterlies to this Sunday's questions page.
Yes, Miss Rogerson.
But do not look at the answers. I expect all of you, except for the new little orphan girl course, to know all the answers.
Yes, Miss Rogerson.
On which day did God create the fish and the fowl? Yes?
On the fifth day, God created the fish and the fowl.
That's correct. Where was Cain sent after he had slain his brother Abel? Yes?
Cain was sent to the land of Nod, east of the Garden of Eden.
That's right. What punishment did God visit on the evil serpent? All right, you again.
The evil serpent was made to crawl on his belly and eat dust all the days of his life.
She doesn't even have a quarterly. Child, how long have you been studying the Bible?
A week. Marilla's been teaching me.
You must be a fast learner.
Marilla's a fast teacher.
The girls in this class are encouraged to memorize and recite scriptural passages. Do you know any?
Just the Lord's Prayer. But I guess everybody knows that one. Oh, I can recite the dog his master's grave. It isn't particularly a religious piece, but it's sad and melancholy. It might as well be.
I don't think that would be appropriate.
I understand. But I promise by next week I'll have lots of scripture to recite.
Probably the entire Old Testament. Oh, time for church. Oh, and one final item. In 2 weeks, there will be a Sunday school picnic, and Mr. Harmon Andrews Beal is hosting. And if you promise to know all the answers to next Sunday's questions, as well as the little orphan girl knew them today, I think I can persuade Mrs. Bell and Mrs. Lynn to make ice cream. If you know the answers.
Yes, Miss Rogerson.
And don't doubt, go immediately to your pews. I understand the guest minister is quite punctual.
You're going to be late for church.
Ice cream. I've never tasted ice cream before.
You will at the picnic. It's going to be near the Barn Island. Oh yes, the Lake of Shining Waters. Lake of Shining Waters? I like to give fancy names to things. You must be Dinah Berry. I am. Marilla said you were pretty, but you're actually beautiful. Oh, you are. Honest. Oh, I'm Anne Shirley. Spelled with an E. I'd much rather be called Cordelia, but Marilla said that would just confuse everybody. Nice to meet you, Lynn. Oh, likewise, I'm sure. We live very near each other. I'm at Green Gables. I know. It'll be nice to have someone to play with. No other girls live near me, and my sister Minnie May is too little. Then it's settled. What's settled? We can be bosom friends. I suppose so. Will you swear to be my bosom friend forever and ever? It's frightfully wicked to swear, especially in church. Well, not my kind of swearing. It just means promising solemnly. I guess that's okay then. How do you do it? Well, first, we join hands. Now, I'll say the oath first. I solemnly swear to be forever faithful to my bosom friend Diana Baird, as long as the sun and the moon shall endure. Now you say it and put my name. I solemnly swear to be forever faithful to my bosom friend Anne Shirley, as long as the sun and moon shall endure. I heard you were a strange girl, Anne, but I think I'm going to let you real love. Girls, time for church. Stop down. Oh, we weren't dallying, Miss Rogerson. We were only swearing.
him taking in every word like a perfect ninny.
Well, I had to tell Matthew all about the Sunday school picnic yesterday. Do I look okay?
As well as you should.
Thank you for letting me wear my Sunday dress, Marilla.
Against my better judgment.
Well, you have to wear your best dress when you entertain your best friend. Oh, it's all perfectly elegant, Marilla. Strawberries, fruitcake, cookies, ginger snaps, and I'll make the tea when Diana gets here.
I think there's some raspberry cordial left over from the church social. It should be on the second shelf in the cupboard. You can have that too.
Raspberry cordial.
I'm here, Marilla. Coming, Rachel. Now, the minute Diana leaves, you'll have to get Matthew and the hired and their supper. They should be back from the vessel pretty soon. Be sure to keep your wits about you when you're cooking, and don't put the suds on the floor like you did yesterday. Now, you and Diana have a nice visit.
Oh, thank you for letting me have her over, Marilla. You're very kind to me.
There. Never mind none of your kissing business. You'll please me most if you do as you're told. Time to go, Marilla. Hold your horses, Rachel. I'm coming. After dinner, you can start on your patchwork. Maybe you can finish it tonight.
I hate patchwork. There's no imagination in it. I just wish time went by as fast when I'm sewing as it does when I'm playing with Diana. Now, is everything ready? Seems to be. Oh, the raspberry cordial. Second shelf. Peaches, preserves, no raspberry cordial. Oh, this must be it. And some glasses. Good afternoon, Miss Barry. The same to you, Miss Shirley. How is your mother? Very well, thank you. And Miss Cuthbert? The same. She has accompanied Mrs. Lynn to the latest aid society this afternoon. And Mr. Cuthbert? He and the hired hand, Mr. Booth, are hauling potatoes to the vessel. We had a very good potato crop. I trust yours is the same. Fairly good, thank you. Don't you just love to talk elegant? Yes, it's so elegant. Why, Diane can give ever so much to eat and drink, and the very best is Marilla's homemade raspberry cordial. Now, you can have some first, and I'll start with the fruitcake. And when we've had our fill, we'll make tea. This is so much fun. I'm so glad we're friends. Bosom friends? Of course. Now, Diana, do you think Mr. Phillips will let us sit together when school begins? He just has to. And if we're lucky, we'll be right across from Gilbert Blythe. Who's Gilbert Blythe? Just the handsomest and smartest boy in school. He teases the girls something terrible. Corners our lives out. It's wonderful. But he won't be at school the first week. He's visiting his cousins in New Brunswick. Well, I, for one, will be able to manage the first week of school without the presence of Mr. Gilbert Blythe. Oh, Diana, I've come up with the most wonderful name for the ring of the birch trees by our playhouse. Idlewild. What do you think? Idlewild. I'm enraptured by the name. It's perfect. Diana, if you finished your cordial, you must have some more. It's the best raspberry cordial I ever drank. Everything Marilla makes is the best. She's teaching me to cook, but it's all uphill. I get distracted and then I forget things. Like when I forgot to put the flour in the cake, or the sugar in the shortbread. But last week was the very worst. Marilla made plum pudding with sauce, and there was some left over. Well, she told me to cover it and put it in the cupboard. Well, I forgot to cover it, and Diana, the next day, a mouse drowned in it. Imagine a mouse. May I please have another? Well, I took the mouse out, and I threw it in the yard, but I forgot to tell Marilla. And the next day, Mr. and Mr. Chester Ross from Spencerville were here, and I forgot to tell them, and Marilla served the pudding sauce to them, so I shrieked out, "No!"
You can leave the rig right there for the time being, Jerry. Might as well let the mare cool off before you put her in the barn.
Come on in. You can have a bite to eat before you get back to work.
Thought you said those girls were having a tea party or something.
They were, but it looks like they finished.
There's some nice leftovers here.
Help yourself. Anne should have put this away when they were done. That's not like her. Earl will be mighty upset if she came home to a messy kitchen.
Might even cook you.
Yeah, I think Anne made those herself.
You're kind of fond of that girl, aren't you, Mr. Cuthbert?
Well, Jerry, truth to tell, I've always been a little afraid of women. Girls, too. But Anne's, well, she's different. She has a lot around here, and, well, she softened Marilla up a mite, too. Of course, Marilla wouldn't agree with that. Well, it's about time we get back to work.
Let me just wash down these cookies.
Hold on there, Jerry. Now with this, you know.
What is it?
It's wine. Homemade currant wine. We only serve this up on rare occasions. I wonder what it's doing now. A glassful or two of this, Jerry, will make you drunk. Mighty drunk. Let's get going.
Oh, I didn't mean to. She only had a few glasses of raspberry cordial, Mrs. Berry.
Raspberry cordial, indeed. I know currant wine when I smell it.
Wine? Oh no. I must have grabbed the wrong bottle. Please forgive me, Mrs. Berry. I never meant to intoxicate Diana. Diana's drunk?
Shush up, Minnie May. I don't think I want you to play with Diana anymore.
But Mrs. Berry.
And you'd better cancel your plans to sit with her when school begins.
Oh, please, Mrs. Berry. This will surely cover my life with a dark cloud of woe.
I think I'm going to be sick. Minnie May, help me take your sister to reception. And as for you, young lady, I don't think you're a fit girl for my Diana to associate with. Now please, take your big words and dramatic gestures home with you and behave yourself.
Yes, ma'am. Oh, I don't think I'm going to be sick. I know I'm going to be sick. Diana's drunk.
Shut up, Minnie May. Shut up.
Charlie Sloan, stop that!
Get away from me, Jimmy Butler!
Why didn't you boys act nice on us girls like Minnie McPherson does? Movie's further McPherson's a good boy because he's going to be a minister someday. Isn't that right, movie?
That is my calling and my intention. And I must set a good example early on.
Well, I'm going into politics and getting elected to Parliament, so I don't have to be nice.
Ow! On it! Ow! Nobody's going to be anything if we're late coming in from recess. Mr. Phillips said if we're not seated by the second bell, we'll be punished.
Has anyone seen Diana? I've been looking everywhere for her. She always meets me at recess.
I think I saw her in the big maple tree over there. I think she was writing something. Oh, Anne, look at those boys scampering down to the school. Gilbert
play together, recess is the only time we can talk. Dear Anne, Mother says I'm not to play with you or talk to you, even in school or at recess. Please don't be cross with me, because I love you as much as ever. I'll miss you awfully to tell my secrets to. I made you a bookmarker out of red tissue paper. When you look at it, remember me. Your true friend, Diana Barry. My own darling Diane, of course I am not cross with you. You must obey your mother's orders. But our spirits can still commune. Yours until death do us part, and or Cordelia surely. P.S. I shall sleep with your letter under my pillow tonight.
And Shirley, you are tardy. Perhaps you'll be moved punctual if I have you sit by Gilbert Blood, who's occasionally tardy himself.
I wish you would punish me that way.
Quiet! Let me remind you, while it is still early in the year, you must be studying hard at all times. Whether you plan to finish school this year, the next, or beyond that, your ultimate goal is to pass the entrance examinations to Queen's Academy in Charlottetown. Now, I know some of you cannot afford to go to Queen's, and some of you have parents that won't allow you to go. But for now, assume all of you will be taking those exams, and will do your best to pass them. Who knows? Perhaps one day an Avonlea student will win the coveted Queen's Gold Medal. Or better yet, the Avery Scholarship, highest of all scholastic honors in the Maritime Provinces. Now, work on your fractions.
Will you check our work, Mr. Phillips?
Later, Priscilla Andrews needs my help. She will soon be taking the exams herself.
And you're actually going to sit with Gilbert Blythe? What kind of punishment is that?
The worst kind. Stop that!
Quiet, please. Prissy, Miss Andrews needs to concentrate. And Shirley, what does this mean?
It was my fault, Mr. Phillips. I teased her.
I'm sorry to see a pupil of mine display such a temper.
Don't take it out of her, Mr. Phillips.
Anne Shirley must learn to control her temper. Now, you'll stand in the corner by the wastebasket and hold that above your head for all to see. Now, until I ring the bell, you may, if you have finished your fractions, talk quietly, very quietly, among yourselves.
Poor Anne. I get embarrassed watching the humiliation.
Her face is so white, her freckles stand out like little red spots.
I hope she didn't break numbers. I'm serious.
I agree. Gilbert's the smartest student in the school. Anne looks so sad up there.
Well, it was her fault. She's too sensitive about her hair. Diana
there's a big difference between a crow and a carrot.
I figured you'd take her part, Charlie Sloane. Everybody knows you're dead gone on Anne anyway.
No, I am not. I'm not.
My mother said, your mother said, you said Anne's the smartest person in school.
Well, she is. She's smarter than Gilbert.
Why is she standing in the corner if he's not?
Well, maybe Anne is somewhat smart. But being good looking is better than being intelligent.
I think Josie Pye's dead gone on you, Charlie Sloane.
I'd rather be dead.
Quiet. It is now time for the dismissal. When it rings, we'll all march out orderly. Do not rush.
I'm awfully sorry to make fun of your hair, Anne. Honest, I am. Don't be having me confused. Here's a candy card for you. I brought it all the way back from New Brunswick.
I will never forgive you, Gilbert Blythe. Never!
No, Diana, you mustn't speak to me. You must obey your mother's orders.
Oh, I have been humiliated beyond belief. And look at this. Mr. Phillips took the E off of my name. That settles it. I'm never coming back to school again. And nobody, not even Matthew or Marilla, can make me.
Oh, Diana, I will never see each other again. But in the years to come, thy memory will shine like a star for thy lonely life. I read that somewhere. Now, we must go, lest we be seen together. Henceforth, we must be as strangers. Fare thee well, my beloved friend, though my heart will be forever faithful to thee.
Is Marilla ready?
She's just sending it, Anne. She'll be down in a minute.
Is the little thing sick? If she is, it's probably over that business about quitting school. But I'm glad you took my advice and didn't make her go back. Besides, she's not missing much. That Mr. Phillips is a terrible teacher. If his uncle wasn't a trustee, he wouldn't have the job. Let's just hope he leaves this year when Priscilla Andrews goes to Queens. If she passes the entrance examinations.
Do you think Anne will ever want to go back to school?
Of course, and the less fuss made about it, the quicker she'll go.
Well, when she does, I'd like her to have a pretty dress to wear, like the other girls do.
Matthew Cuthbert, for once I agree with you. The way Marilla dresses that child is positively ridiculous.
Maybe you could get one for her, over at Blair's in Carmody. If I give it to her as a Christmas present, or I'll have to let her wear it. Figure out something real pretty.
If I can't find one I like, I'll make it myself.
With them fluffy things on the sleeves, like the other girls had.
Puffs, of course. It'll be the latest fashion.
Sorry to hold you up, Rachel. And Mrs. Lynn's here. Come down and say goodbye to us. We'll be gone a couple of days.
You ought to come with us, Matthew. Half the town's going. Could be your only chance to meet the premier of Canada in person.
Matthew's not big on political rallies.
Maybe he thinks I'll embarrass everybody when I ask why the premier won't give a woman the vote.
Goodbye, Marilla. Mrs. Lynde. Have a nice trip to Charlottetown.
Lawful heart, child. And what are you doing wearing that old granny cap? She doesn't have head lice, does she?
No, she's okay.
And come here and let me see if your hair is turning auburn again.
No, it's still red.
Well, we better going, Rachel. We've kept your husband waiting long enough. And you and Matthew take care of each other, and I'll see you tomorrow night.
Marilla, is that a lock of loose hair on your coat? Lawful heart, it looks green.
Can't be, Rachel. No such thing as green hair.
There, Anne. It'll be all right.
She'll spread it all over Abilene. She saw the green hair.
But she doesn't know where it came from.
That peddler lied to me. He told me the dye would turn my hair black. Well, he sure told the truth when he said it wouldn't wash out.
Marilla did the right thing by cutting it off.
Right down to the roots.
It'll grow back.
Redder than ever, I'll bet. Mr. Butler,
Yes, that's me.
I'm Susan Stacy.
Well, won't you come sit down?
No, thank you. I'm in rather a hurry since I'm calling out several families today, although a number of them seem to be on their way to Charlottetown. You must be Anne. Yes, Miss Stacy. I've heard a lot about you. Good things, I might add. I'll come straight to my business, Mr. Cuthbert. It is possible that the teaching position in Avonlea may become available next year. Mr. Phillips is leaving? It's not definite, but I've been encouraged to apply. I'm from Montague, and I'm a Queen's graduate. I was second runner-up for the Queen's Medal and might have gotten the Avery Scholarship at Queen's the year the year I graduated. I don't say this to boast, but merely to state my qualifications.
Well, you sound qualified to me.
Why don't you start right now? Thank you for your votes of confidence. I like Avonlea, and I would like to teach here, but I want to teach students with goals and ambitions beyond Avonlea. Would the brightest and best wish to continue at Queen's or a similar institution? Would the parents or guardians be willing to pay for their children's education at such a place? I certainly don't expect an answer from you now, but I'd like to think about it. If the opportunity arises, I'll call on you again. Miss Stacy, I don't even go to school, but I might if you were the teacher. That wouldn't be until next year. You'll miss a lot if you stay out until then. I have my reasons for not going. I'm sure you do, but do those reasons outweigh your desire for knowledge and the dreams that knowledge can bring? I'm sorry. I've overstepped my bounds. I've enjoyed a brief visit, Mr. Cuthbert, and I hope we meet again.
I'd send you to a place like Queen's, even if we had to hold up a bank to do it.
Oh, Matthew.
But I reckon we could pull enough together without resorting. But if you wanted to go take those examinations with your friends, you'd have to be getting back to school soon.
That man humiliated me. Everybody laughed at me.
I'd be mighty pleased if you passed those entrance examinations one day.
I bet you'd be even more pleased if I won that gold medal, or better yet, the Avery Scholarship.
I'd be mighty proud, yes, but the main thing is that you do your best, even when you don't feel like it. That'd make me the proudest.
Well, I hate geometry, I hate Mr. Phillips, and I hate school, and I'm never going back, and nobody, not even Marilla, can make me. Anyway, everybody would know I got all my hair cut off. Diana, did your mother say you could play together again? Mother and father went to Charlottetown yesterday. They're staying with me Aunt Josephine until tomorrow. Diana, I'm delighted to see you, but you mustn't disobey your mother. It's Minnie Mae. She's awful sick. Mary Jo and French are all staying with us, and she says Minnie Mae has pneumonia in the croup. But Mary Jo doesn't know what to do, and I don't either.
I never took care of a young one before.
I have. At the orphanage, we had to take care of each other lots of times. I once helped a pair of twins who were real sick spell.
And you go with Diana. I'll go into town and get a doctor.
I think the doctor went to Charlottetown like everybody else. Well, Matthew will find somebody. I'll take this bottle of Ipecac, in case you don't have any at home. Hurry, Anne. Minnie Mae's coughing something terrible, and she looks just awful. I'm afraid she may be dying. We won't let her die. Come on.
Jerry, are you out there?
Just finished shelling the corn, Mr. Cuthbert.
Hitch up the sorrel. I've got to go into town and get a doctor. The little Barry girl is sick. I may have to go as far as Carmody.
I'll get right on it.
can't find a doctor, Anne will just have to handle things herself. Hope that little girl's gonna be okay. I think the Watsons lost their youngest to pneumonia about this time a year ago. Sad, sad thing.
Jeremy, you may have to stay late and do the milking if I'm not back in time. And don't forget to shut up the hen house before you go.
I think she'll do better in here where it's warmer. The bedroom is much too cold. Now, Diana, get me a spoon for the Sippicast. And Mary Jo, get plenty of wood for the kitchen stove. And we need lots of hot water.
Yes, quite right. I'll do the best I can.
Now, get some more flannel cloths. Do you know where they are? Yes? No? I don't know. Look at the bottom drawer. There's always put things like that in bottom drawers. Oh, Anne, don't cry, Diana. She's going to be all right. I've seen much worse than this. Oh, you poor thing. You're sicker than anybody I've ever seen. Fever a mile high. Here, Minnie May, take some of this medicine. Wake up, Minnie May. Wake up. Wake up. I've got to get all this down you before the night is over. Minnie May, you've got to take every bit of this medicine. Wake up. Wake up. You've got to get rid of that phlegm. This will help you cough it up. Oh, you poor thing. What you're going through is far worse than studying geometry, or being humiliated at school, or getting your hair cut off, or even losing your best friend. When the night is over, I'm going to set aside my petty pride and foolish vanity, and I'm going to pass those entrance examinations to Queen and aim for the highest honors, so Matthew and the world will be proud of me. The time for self-pity is over. But first, Minnie May, we have to get you through this awful crisis. Is she dying? Not if we do all we can. And pray. I think there's a verse in the Bible somewhere that says, God is in his heaven and all is right with the world. Just keep saying that over and over. And Mary Jo, get some more hot water. Hurry, hurry! God is in his heaven, all is right with the world.
I remember how she flew out of here when you said she could play with Diana again.
And they were sitting together the very next day. When Anne came back to school, her hair made her look like a perfect scarecrow. Well, it sure grew back faster than a scarecrow's. Merry Christmas, everyone!
Merry Christmas,
And your dress, it's beautiful. Thank you. Matthew gave it to me. It's the perfect Christmas present. And you have puffs. This is for you. Thank you, Minnie May. Oh, your hair. And it even matches my dress. How did you know?
Rachel Lynn was involved in the project. Need I say more? Well, let's get going to the concert, everyone. We still have 6 more people to take. Hope they fit into the sled.
Would you like to ride my rig, Anne?
No, thank you. I'll be riding with the berries.
Since Anne is spending the night with Diana, Matthew and I will go in our own rig.
We'll see you at the concert then.
She does look awful pretty in that dress.
It was a nice present, Matthew, but I'm not sure she needed another dress. But she'll make a good impression while she's reciting tonight.
And she speaks her poetry real well.
She's a bright child, Matthew. I'm awful proud of her, but I'm not going to tell her so.
Well, I'm proud of her, and I did tell her so. I think she's smart enough to pass those entrance exams to Queens one day, when the time comes.
Mrs. Berry said they're keeping Diana in school right here in Avonlea
Queens does give a mighty fine education.
for a mighty fine price.
I reckon we could afford it somehow.
I miss her something terrible if she went away.
But we do have to do what's right by her.
Well, we don't have to think about it for a while.
The time will come soon enough. We should keep our minds on it.
Sounds like they're stopping at the Andrews now.
Well, now, I guess we're going to think about going.
Now, I know why you've been standing here gabbing all night. You didn't want to have to join in on the singing.
Well, now, you're right.
I never saw a man so shy. Before Anne came, the only people you were comfortable around were me and the sorrel mare.
Well, maybe the mayor anyhow.
Go on with you.
It was a perfectly brilliant evening. Everything went off so well. Your solo was simply elegant. And I was so proud of you when they offered you back. Well, your recitation simply brought the house down. And Gilbert Blythe was for you, too. He looked at you the whole time you were reciting.
I didn't notice.
Oh, Anne, isn't it wonderful we can stay up as long as we like? Curfew shall not ring tonight! Let's go to the bedroom and read. It'll be special since we get the spare room tonight. The spare room. Let's race to see who gets there first. All right. The first one to the bed is the winner. Then we'll put on our nightgowns and read far into the night. On your mark, get set, go! Merciful goodness! Who was that? What was that? Oh, Anne, I think that was my Aunt Josephine Berry from Charlottetown. I had no idea she was here. She's old and rich and prim and proper. I'm sure she'll scold us dreadfully.
There you are. You are the worst behaved girl I have ever seen. Your parents ought to be ashamed of the way they brought you up.
But, Miss Berry, who are you?
And another thing, I will not pay for your music lessons like I promised your father.
But, Miss Berry, who are you?
And another thing, I will not stay 2 weeks as planned. I shall return to Charlottetown tomorrow, taking with me any monetary considerations I have for this family.
But, Miss Berry, who are you?
And another thing,
my early days as an orphan, many people were cross with me, so I can endure it much better than I am.
Only in fun, you say?
That's all. We had no idea you were in there.
Well, you have no idea what it's like to be awoken from sound sleep after a long journey by two big girls bumping up and down on you.
Well, I could imagine what it would be like, just as I'm sure how you can imagine how a poor little orphan girl who had never had the honor of sleeping in this spare room would be so excited to jump into bed.
Well, I suppose your claim to sympathy is as strong as mine. You seem like an interesting girl.
And you, Miss Barry, might even be a kindred spirit, even if you don't look like one.
Perhaps we can sit down together sometime this weekend. You can tell me that about yourself.
Then you're not leaving in the morning, Aunt Josephine?
No, I'll stay the whole 2 weeks. I want to be here for your first music lesson, to be sure you're getting my money's worth. And maybe this Anne will come over and talk to me occasionally.
Of course I will, Miss Barry.
Well, good night, girls.
Good night, Aunt Josephine. That's early. Thank you, and I'll be eternally grateful.
Well, it was my fault. Mrs. Glynn says I'm too impulsive, but when something exciting flashes into your mind, you just have to do it. If you stop to think it over, you'll spoil it all.
Girls, you're still up? Forgot to tell you, Diane, your Aunt Josephine came to visit when we were at the concert, and your father put her in a spare room. You two will have to sleep with Minnie May. I think you'd better go to bed now. For heaven's sake, don't wake Aunt Josephine. She'd never forgive you if you did. Diane, that might mean the end of your music lessons.
Oh, we wouldn't dream of waking her, Mrs. Barry.
Wouldn't dream of it at all.
Why, Matthew and Marilla, what brings you to town on a harvesting day?
To see the doctor. I've been getting those headaches again.
You poor dear. What did he say?
He gave me a new pair of glasses, but they never seemed to do any good. He said I need to see the specialist next time he comes to the island. Of course, Matthew's the one to go out to see the doctor, what with his heart and all. But I can't get him to go.
Is Anne back from the exhibition in Charlottetown?
Mr. Barry's driving Diana and her back tonight. It was nice of Josephine Barry to let the girls stay with her.
I always thought that old woman was a sourpuss, but she sure took a shine to Anne.
Just like everybody does.
Matthew, I saw your rig parked outside the general store, and that old mare looked awful thirsty to me.
Well, now, we've got to get home soon anyway. Come on, Marilla.
Matthew, why don't you go water the mare? I need to talk to Marilla about a new recipe I'm trying. She'll be right along. Marilla, does Matthew still have his money in the Abbott's bank?
Every penny we've got.
Well, I hear the bank's a little shaky. Mr. Abbott's getting awful old, and he's letting his nephews run the bank. I might think of putting my money someplace else if I were you.
I'll mention it to Matthew. Thank you, Rachel.
Why, the Reverend and Mrs. Allen.
Good morning, Mrs.
Lynch, Mrs. Rachel Lynch.
I'm sorry, I'll have the names before long.
I told my husband I memorized the congregation names, and he memorized the Sunday sermon. And good ones they are, too. I missed Reverend Bentley's sermons, but I had his memorized even before he retired.
Let's see, the people you were just talking with, the Cuthberts?
Correct.
They're girls in my Sunday school class, and when I asked the pupils to recite their favorite Bible verse, Anne said hers was, God's in his heaven, and all's right with the world. I reminded her that the poet Robert Browning wrote that. But we both agreed it probably should be the Bible. She's a fine, intelligent lady.
Of course she We'll even have a new school teacher this fall. A woman of all things. I'm for giving women the vote, but I don't think we ought to be giving them our schools. It would be a dangerous innovation. Of course, Canada's going to the dogs anyhow, what with the way things are being run in Ottawa. But nobody asks me, so I just keep my thoughts to myself. Good day, Reverend. Mrs. Allen. Good day.
This is to be our last convening until school begins.
I so look forward to our new teacher.
As do I. Although it was a sad day when Mr. Phillips announced he was leaving. But not too sad.
We all cried.
Convincingly, I thought.
You know, this gathering has been so revised. I can only think of what other things we haven't done to make it absolutely perfect.
And what is that, Carrie Sloan?
A small, friendly game of I dare you.
All right. We'll make our dares when we finish our tea, then we'll go out into the garden and do that.
Ridiculous. I dare you on the big old tree outside the front door.
But it's full of green caterpillars.
I know. That's why I dare you.
All right. I will.
Jamie Andrews, I dare you to hop along the garden on your left leg without stopping.
But I don't have good balance.
Of course. That's why I dared you.
Very well. I will. Josie Pye, I dare you to walk along the wooden fence that surrounds the garden.
But I have my slippery shoes on.
I know. That's why I dared you.
Okay. I will. And I dare you, Anne Shirley, to walk the ridgepole on top of the roof.
But high places make me dizzy.
I know. That's why I dare you.
She'll fall and be killed. Josie, it isn't fair to make anybody do something so dangerous.
Anyways, Josie, you've already done one dare. That's all that's allowed.
Don't do it, Anne. I must do it. My honor is at stake. No, Anne, it's too dangerous. Let's go. I'll even be first. I shall walk the ridgepole on the roof or perish in the attempt. Wait, someone help me bring the cups back to the kitchen. Mother will kill me if I don't. She's going to do it. I'm going to talk about that matter. She's on the roof. She's taking your dare good and proper, Josie Pye. Oh no, I can hear her on the roof. Be careful, Anne, this slant is steep. Not the ridgepole. Good girl, Anne. I think you can do it. She showed you, Josie Pye. Come on, look, Diana. Don't wait for me to see. Anne, come down now. Why did she sway? I think she's slipping. Be careful, Anne. Grab the ridgepole. Grab the ridgepole. You won't try to fall from Virginia's fingers. Oh no!
I don't understand why I have to be here when she gets here.
It's customary for the whole family to be on hand when company arrives. Now button the top button on your shirt.
It ain't the preacher himself, it's only his wife.
Land sakes, I never saw a man so afraid of women before.
I'm not afraid, I just gotta get the cows fed.
She'll only be here a little while. Anyways, there's something I need to talk to you about while we're waiting for her. There's some talk that the Abbot Bake is a little shaky.
That's all it is. Talk. Papa kept his money there for all those years. It was safe, wasn't it?
Times are changing. I feel better if we put what we've got over in the savings bank. Just think about it, will you, Matthew? Afternoon, Mrs. Allen.
Hello, and how are the customers today?
As well as could be expected. Have a seat, Mrs. Allen. And Mrs. Allen's here.
How's she managing these days?
I guess, under the circumstances. But she perked right up when I told her you were coming. She even baked a layer cake for you.
How thoughtful.
I know later on she'll want to show you her flower plot in the garden.
It's a fine girl you're both raising. Did Anne tell you we both have the same favorite poet, Robert Browning?
Oh, her and her poetry. Must have been all she read when she was a little girl. Seems some wealthy widow donated a patch of both poetry books to that orphan asylum. Must have been the only reading material that they had.
I think Browning very accurately describes Anne's design. The good stars met your horoscope and made you of spirit and fire and dew.
Well, now, that's our Anne.
Why, hello, Mrs. Allen. Why, Anne, you're hardly crippled at all. Matthew made this crutch for me. It's quite a work of art.
Well, let's have some cake. I'm sure Matthew's anxious to get back to his pigs.
I was feeding the cow.
I'm very eager to taste your cake, Anne. I'm honored that you made it for my visit. You know, I came today especially because it's the first day of school, and I thought you might be a little down in the dumps.
Well, how thoughtful of you, Mrs. Allen. But I won't miss too much school. The cast will come off in just 2 more weeks. And Miss Stacy, she's our new teacher, said that she would try to bring over my assignments while I'm gone. Is something wrong?
Mrs. Allen, don't eat anymore. Not even to be nice. And Shirley, what on earth did you put in this cake?
Nothing but the recipe. What's the matter?
It's horrible. Taste it yourself. What flavoring did you use?
Vanilla. Just vanilla. There's a bottle right there in the cupboard.
Mercy on us, Anne! You flavored this cake with anodyne liniment!
Liniment?
I broke the liniment bottle last week. I poured what was left of it into this old vanilla bottle. I suppose it's partly my fault. But couldn't you smell the liniment?
No, I couldn't. I was just getting over my summer cold. Oh, Mrs. Allen, please forgive me.
There's nothing to forgive, my dear. I appreciate your thoughtfulness just as much as you that everything will turn out all right. Now, you mustn't feel bad.
Well, this is certainly a new one for me. But there is one encouraging thing. I never make the same mistake twice.
I don't see how that's much benefit when you keep making new ones.
Well, don't you see, Marilla? There must be a limit to mistakes one person can make. And once I've made them all, I'll be done with mistakes forever.
I suppose I can feed what's left of this cake to the pigs. Matthew, you can get back to the cows.
I'm very eager to see your flower pot, Anne. Why don't you give it to me?
All right. Oh, I just love fall flowers the best. I just think
Gilbert Blythe.
Oh, Mrs. Allen. Anne?
Good afternoon, Gilbert.
And
You can catch up with me later.
oh, Miss Allen, please don't go. What are you doing here?
Miss Stacy let me bring her books and assignments to you.
Why did you want to do that?
Maybe it's because I don't want you to have any excuses when I score higher than you on the Queen's entrance examinations.
Well, maybe you'll be the one looking for an excuse.
We'll see. Well, goodbye.
Gilbert,
Yes?
thank you. Again.
Again?
I was just remembering the time on the river last summer.
when you and the other girls were acting out the Tennyson poem and your flat boat started to sing? Well, I couldn't let you drown, could I? I'm just glad it happened along when I did.
So am I.
And has it ever occurred to you that we might possibly be friends?
It has. Somewhat.
I'm awfully sorry I made fun of your hair that time. Besides, that was so long ago. And I think your hair is awful pretty now. Honestly, I do.
Carrots! You called me carrots! And I will never be friends with you, Gilbert Blythe. Never!
All right. And I'll never ask you to be friends with me again, Anne Shirley. Goodbye.
Why did you really bring these books over anyway? Was it truly so that I won't have an excuse when he beats me on the exams? Maybe so.
think I'm gonna fail algebra. I really think I am.
Charlie, you have to be more positive.
Okay. I will fail algebra. I know I will.
I've been studying with Anne. She knows everything. I'm sure she'll do well.
Even if she does pass, I don't think she can handle the grind of studying to be a teacher. Anyway, Gilbert will do better on exams than Anne.
Well, Jimmy Glover bet Ned Wright $1 whole that Anne would score higher than Gilbert.
The Bible says we shouldn't bet.
And where does it say that?
12 times 5 is 60, 12 times 6 is 72, 12 times 8 is 84.
Moody Spurgeon, what are you doing?
Same on multiplication tables.
He's been saying them for 3 hours.
It steadies my nerves and makes me calm. Now don't interrupt.
Hello, everybody.
Hi, Miss Sissy.
I'll be about to pick you up at your rooms early tomorrow morning, so I suggest you all get a good night's sleep. I know you wish to study all you can, but I suggest you not cram tonight. Just relax and clear your heads. And I suggest that we begin by going uptown for ice creams all around on my tree. I'm very proud of you all, and I wish you the best of luck tomorrow.
Thank you.
Oh, Diana, if only the geometry examination were over. But as Mrs. Lynn would say, the sun will go on rising and setting, whether I fail geometry or not. But I think I'd rather it didn't go on if I failed. I wish so much that you were with me. Where'd you go to leave Anne?
Diana, come help me wash the dishes. They won't wash themselves, you know.
Coming, Mother.
Matthew! Marilla! I'm home! Home. How lucky I am. I love you, Green Gables. Love you to pieces. And you too, Matthew!
Come on now. How did you get along?
I'm not sure if I passed or not, but we won't find out until tomorrow. But right now, I'm not even going to worry about it. I'd just rather not pass at all if I don't come ahead of guilt, assert somebody. Oh, Marilla, how I've missed you! It seems as if I've been gone much longer than 3 days.
More like 3 years. How did you do?
She thinks she failed, but I don't believe a word of it.
Well, if she did, that means she wouldn't be going away next year. When will you know?
Well, the results came out in the Charlottetown paper today, but we won't find out until tomorrow. But right now, I'm not even going to worry about it. I'm just going to enjoy seeing both of you. Marilla, what's the matter?
It's probably one of her headaches again.
No, it's not. I just missed you, that's all. And I'm glad to see you. And I fear you'll be gone next year.
That's if I pass. And I'll come home every weekend. There'll be a passenger train by then.
You've grown so tall and stylish. You're even quieter now. I just wish you would have stayed the same, even with all your funny little ways. But you've changed.
Not really. I've just branched out a bit. That's all. And no matter where I go, or how much I change outwardly, I'll always be your little Anne, full of you, and Matthew, and Green Gables, more and better, each day of my life.
Now you've got me all mushy and silly acting. Put on your everyday clothes and help me feed the chickens.
I'd love nothing better.
Anne, are you back yet?
Diana!
I'm sorry I didn't knock. I know it's impolite, but this is urgent. Look, you passed.
What?
Father brought the paper home from Bright River not minutes ago. He got it right off the train. Here's the pass list. You and Gilbert tied for first. And everybody from Avonlea passed. Miss Stacy will be so delighted. Moody Spurgeon got a
Well, now, I knew you could beat them all.
You've done pretty well, I must say.
Oh, Anne, I got your letter. It was so exciting. You must tell me all about the trip.
Well, first I have to help Marilla feed the chickens.
Matthew can help me. You and Diana do your visiting and catching up.
Oh, thank you, Marilla. Now, Diana, come upstairs with me while I unpack. You should have seen the English examination. My head is
I guess you did a pretty good job with her after all, Marilla.
Oh, go on.
And me putting my arm didn't hurt too much, I suppose. She's a real pretty little girl. And smart. And loving, too.
She is that.
She's been a real blessing to us. There never was a luckier mistake than one Mrs. Spencer made. If it was a mistake, after all. I believe it was Providence, because the Almighty saw we needed her, I reckon.
Matthew Cuthbert, are you going to stand up gabbing all day or help me feed the chickens?
I was just feeding the cows.
You are always feeding the cows. They're going to get as fat as Rachel Lynde. Come on now. Here, tick, 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 tick. We'll wait for you in the parlor, Josie.
Josie, please hurry. It won't be daylight much longer.
Fine. Charlotte Town is much more exciting after dark. What is she getting so fancied up for anyway?
She hopes to see her new French professor in town.
And why not? He's simply a duck.
I prefer men my own age.
Like Gilbert Blythe. I've seen him carry your books, Ruby. Josie, are you ready?
I just need some help with this necklace. Is Anne coming?
No, she's studying, as usual. She's determined to get her first-class teaching license in 1 year instead of 2. I wouldn't dream of finishing in 1 year. I can't wait to come back to the academy. Besides, my father can afford it.
You know, when Anne decided she would try to get her first-class teaching license in 1 year, Gilbert decided he would too. I wonder why.
Hello, everyone. You have to get to town while it's still daylight. Or else you have to be escorted.
We're being detained by Josie's jewelry.
Are you coming with us, Anne? You can't study all weekend. Besides, everybody knows Emily Clay or Louis Williams will win the gold medal.
Or Gilbert Blythe.
Or Anne Shirley. In fact, I bet Anne could win the Avery Scholarship if Queens were awarded one. Ready? Anne, you sure you won't come with us?
Thank you, but Miss Josephine Barry is picking me up. I'm going to be spending the night with her.
Oh, how nice! Oh, do you remember when we used to go home every weekend before Christmas?
We were so homesick then, and we didn't have so much homework to do.
Oh, look, there's Gilbert on the front porch. He can take us into town. Goodbye, Anne.
Have a nice time at Miss Barry's.
Thank you. I will. We were so homesick then. Well, some of us still are. Oh, I wish I could go home. Matt is probably coming in from the fields right now. And Marilla will be making tea for him in the hired hand. They talk about the chickens, the cows, the crops. They talk about me. They miss me as much as I miss them. Anne girl, Miss Barry! Would you be terribly offended if I called you Aunt Josephine?
Well, I'd be terribly offended if you didn't.
Thank you for inviting me. I'm so excited to spend the night with you.
Will you stay the whole weekend?
Thank you, but final examinations are right around the corner. And I must study hard so I can graduate and get my teacher's license.
Well, we'll make the most of one day. I had to cook big, fancy, wild turkey with all the trimmings. How does that sound?
Simply wonderful.
Come now, the driver's leaving. Oh, by the way, did I see the Blythe boys sitting on the porch?
I think so.
A nice young man. You didn't match for you, girl.
Well, I'm not so sure about that.
I am. He's attractive. Seems studious and ambitious, and possesses an even more important feature.
What's that, Aunt Josephine?
A strong chin. It's true. A strong chin is a man's most important attribute. A man with weak chin is as apt to leave you as he is to love you. Now, when I was your age, Robert had a terribly small chin.
I think it's this way.
Don't you know? You're the one who brought us to the academy.
But that was over a year ago. And we went by buggy that time. We went by train.
Rachel, you've been to Charlottetown before. Only to the fairgrounds. And I was here with you that one time.
I think maybe it's this way.
Well, if all else fails, you can always ask somebody.
Miss Cuthbert, Mrs. Lynde, you're going the wrong way.
Miss Stacy, you're repeating in the fog.
We haven't seen you since you left Athens.
I would miss the graduation of the best students I ever had. I only wish they could go on to college.
We only wish we could afford it. Queens is about as much as we can handle right now.
Who can afford to send their child to college?
Josie Pye's father could, but I graduate, she'll graduate.
I hear the teaching position that Avenue is vacant again.
Yes, and Gilbert Blight has applied for headmaster. We haven't had a man since Mr. Phillips. Imagine me calling Gilbert a man.
Oh, come call me if you don't want to be late.
Thank you again for your kind attention. As I mentioned inside of the official graduation ceremony, it is our custom to gather briefly outside in the courtyard prior to our reception to bestow upon one of our students who was traditionally our highest honor, the Queen's Academy Gold Medal. I am very pleased to announce this year's recipient, a student who has shown outstanding qualities both personally and scholastically. From Avonlea, Prince Edward Island, Mr. Gilbert Blight. Normally, this presentation would conclude our formal ceremony, but this year we have another, equally prestigious award to bestow upon one of our graduates. As many of you know, the late Mr. Neville A. Green of New Brunswick, behind a portion of his fortune, endowed scholarships among the various high schools and academies in the maritime provinces, according to their respective standings. Because of our unusually high academic achievements this year, we have been awarded such a scholarship. It carries with it fully paid expenses to 4 years at Redmond College, leading to the Bachelor of Arts degree. I am extremely privileged to announce the recipient of this rare scholarship, a student who could not be more deserving, nor delightful, I may add, again, from the village of Avonlea, Prince Edward Island, Miss Anne Shirley. Now, I invite the friends, family, and alumni to join the faculty and graduates for a reception and refreshments on the green. This year's graduation ceremony is officially concluded.
Congratulations!
Congratulations, Miss Shirley.
Same to you, Mr. Black. Oh, look! There's Matthew and Marilla and Mrs. Lynde and Miss Stacy. How nice of her to come. Oh, and there's Diana. Dear, dear Diana. Would you look at that, Moody Spurgeon, first in line for the cookies. I'm coming, Diana. Pour a glass of punch for me.
Barnum knows a pretty heavy load for the horse to take all the way to the station. Why don't you get her some water while we take the bags inside? It's good to be home.
We were only gone 2 days.
I think that's about as long as I've ever been away from home.
I'm glad we got a new full-time hired hand. Looks like you took care of things okay around here. You let me get the rest of the bags. You just mind your heart. Just get the mail.
Where's Anne?
Still gabbing with Diana, I reckon. It was nice of the berries to let her come back with us.
Goodbye. I'll be over as soon as I am back. Oh, Gables. How I missed you so. I'm going to spend every minute memorizing you before I leave for Redmond. Marilla, let me help you get the luggage.
No, child, you rest. You earned it. To take a full-time teaching license and an Avery scholarship all in 1 year? Well, well.
I better go check the mail and then get back to work.
Matthew, let's just take a rest today.
I don't know. There's so much to do around a farm, even with a hired man.
I just wish I would have been the boys you had sent 4 years ago. I'd be able to help you so much this summer.
Now you hold on there just a minute. I'd rather have you than a dozen boys. I reckon it wasn't a boy that took that scholarship. No, it was a girl. My girl that I'm proud of.
Oh, Matthew.
I'll go check the mail.
Marilla, is it the headaches again?
They come and go. But the specialist is coming to the island next week. And this time I'm going to see him. These bags are heavier than when you left.
Well, I brought home all my books. Some students sell them or give them to friends, but I wouldn't part with a single solitary one.
Well, now. Well, now.
And then, all the girls except Josie left. And there she was, surrounded by... Marilla, look!
Matthew, what's wrong?
It's the bag. The bag. It failed.
Are you sure?
It's all right here. Everything we had is gone.
Matthew, you've got to lie down. You're sick.
I should have our money in the savings bank. Like you said.
Well, we can't do anything about that now. Anyways, we didn't have that much.
But it's gone. It's all gone.
Matthew, is it your heart? Matthew! And you go get Martin. I'll get with Matthew to his room. You tell Martin to go for the doctor at once.
Yes, right away. And Mrs. Lynch and anyone else I can find. Martin, help! It's Matthew. He's sick, real sick.
Anne, is that you?
I'm in here, Marilla.
You best be getting ready for church. Where were you this morning?
I left before you got up. I went to the cemetery, into the white Scotch rose bush at Nancy's grave. He liked those roses best.
Oh, Marilla, what will we do without him?
We'll just have to do with each other for now. I don't know what I'd do if you weren't here. I hope you know I love you as much as Matthew
I was just down from Carmody to visit my uncle here in Avonlea, and I thought we might talk.
Well, we were just going to church.
Of course. Sunday isn't the most appropriate day to discuss business anyway. I'll just drop by tomorrow. Morning to both of you.
Marilla, what did that pan want?
You best be getting ready for church.
All I need is my hat. And Marilla, what kind of business?
I suppose I might as well tell you. The doctor gave me a new pair of glasses last week.
You told me that.
But I didn't tell you that he said I couldn't read or sew or do anything that strains my eyes. Or I'll be blind in 6 months.
Oh, Marilla.
I can't live here alone, and there's not enough money to keep a full-time hired hand anymore. I've got to sell Green Gables. Mr. Sadler wants to buy it.
You can't sell Green Gables.
There's nothing else to be done. Rachel Lynn said I could board with her. I'm thankful that you're taking care of with that Avery scholarship. I'm just sorry you won't have a home to come to on your vacations.
I'm not going to Redmond.
Not going? What do you mean?
Just what I said. I'll stay here with you. And I'll find a job somewhere, and we'll use part of my salary to pay for a hired hand.
But where will you teach? Gilbert Blythe already has a teaching position here in Avonlea, and any place else would be too far away if you live here.
Then I'll be the hired hand myself. I'll cook for you and clean, and we'll be real cozy here, you and I.
But Anne, I can't let you give up that scholarship.
And I can't let you give up Green Gables.
Why, Gilbert Blythe?
Good morning, Miss Cuthbert.
Maybe you can get Anne to hurry along. She's awful full of stalling tactics this morning.
Hello, Anne.
Good morning, Gilbert.
I understand from Mrs. Lynn that you plan to sell the farm.
Why does Avonlea need a newspaper when we have Mrs. Lynn?
Marilla was going to sell, but not anymore.
Because you're going to stay here and give up your scholarship.
How did you know?
I know you and your love for Green Gables. But how will you manage? You don't have a job, do you?
I'll find something.
What about that teaching job here in Avonlea?
But, Gilbert, I heard that job was already yours. I heard the board
I withdrew my application.
But why?
I got a teaching job at White Sands. I recommended you for the position. Board said all you need to do is apply.
Thank you, Gilbert. Thank you.
I just hope that after all this, we can be friends and you'll forgive me my old faults.
Oh, I forgave you long ago. I was just too stubborn to admit it.
May I walk you to church? I think the service is already started.
You go ahead. I'll be right behind you.
It's too bad Mr. Childers won't be there.
Our old school teacher? Why him?
He might make us sit together for being late.
Well, let's pretend he is there, and we'll sit together anyway.
I have an idea. Why don't I reintroduce myself, and we'll start all over again.
Excellent idea.
My name is Gilbert Black. I'm very pleased to meet you. I'll be waiting for you at church.
And my name is Anne Shirley, but please call me Cordelia. I think Cordelia is a much better... My name is Anne, Anne of Green Gables. And at this moment, God is in his heaven, and all is right with the